Is your once close child suddenly pulling away, acting distant, or even hostile? It's a heart-wrenching experience for any parent, and you might be wondering, is this just normal teenage rebellion, or is it something more serious, like parental alienation? Figuring out the difference is crucial, not just for your relationship, but for your child's emotional well-being. Misinterpreting the signs can lead to more damage, so let's break it down together. Understanding what's really happening is the first step toward reconnecting and healing. First, let's talk about teenage rebellion. This is a totally normal, expected part of growing up. Think of it as your teen's job to figure out who they are, separate from you. They're on a quest for independence and identity. You'll likely see them testing boundaries, pushing your buttons, and questioning the rules you've set. Their moods can swing wildly. One moment they're cheerful, the next they're slamming doors. This emotional roller coaster is often fueled by a perfect storm of hormonal changes, the massive influence of their friends, and the stress of school, exams, and worrying about the future. A key thing to remember about typical teenage rebellion is that it's usually inconsistent. Your teen might be defiant one day and affectionate the next. Their frustration isn't usually aimed at just one person. They might argue with you, but they're probably also clashing with their other parent, their teachers, or even their coach. It's a general pushback against authority, not a targeted attack on you specifically. They crave more privacy, spend more time in their room, and might seem secretive. While it's tough, this phase is temporary and a sign that they're developing into their own person. Now, let's shift to a much more concerning issue: parental alienation. This isn't a natural developmental stage. It is a situation where one parent actively and intentionally manipulates a child to reject the other parent. It's a form of psychological manipulation that can have devastating long-term effects. The alienating parent might constantly speak negatively about the targeted parent, twisting past events to make them look bad, or even making up false stories of neglect or harm. They might make the child feel guilty for showing affection or wanting to spend time with the other parent, creating intense loyalty conflicts that force the child to choose a side. So, what are the warning signs of parental alienation? One of the biggest red flags is a sudden and extreme rejection of one parent, often without any valid or logical reason. A child who was once loving and close might abruptly refuse all contact, expressing fear or hatred that seems completely out of proportion to any real events. Their thinking often becomes very black and white. One parent is all good, and the other is all bad, with no room for nuance. You might also notice the child using adult-like language or phrases that sound rehearsed, as if they've been coached on what to say. Their reasons for rejecting a parent might be weak, frivolous, or even nonsensical. It's easy to see why these two situations get confused. Both can involve a defiant, angry child who is emotionally withdrawn. A teen caught in an alienation dynamic might even claim their negative feelings are their own independent thoughts, making it look just like rebellion. They want to assert their independence, so they parrot the manipulated views they've been fed, believing it's their own authentic opinion. This overlap can be incredibly confusing for the targeted parent, who is left wondering what they did wrong. But there are key differences if you look closely. The most important distinction lies in consistency, rigidity, and focus. Teenage rebellion is inconsistent and fluctuates. The anger is usually directed at authority figures in general, not just one parent. Parental alienation, on the other hand, is characterized by a consistent, rigid, and often absolute rejection of one specific parent, while the relationship with the other parent becomes intensely, sometimes unhealthily, enmeshed. The hostility is isolated and relentless. A rebellious teen might argue about curfew, but they'll still have moments of connection. An alienated child often shows no ambivalence. Their rejection is total. To help you figure out what's going on, ask yourself a few diagnostic questions. First, does your child's anger have a logical cause? Can they give you specific, believable examples of why they are upset, or are their complaints vague and irrational? Second, is their rejection aimed solely at you, or are they clashing with other authority figures too? If it's just you and the other parent is pedestaled, that's a red flag. Third, listen to their language. Does it sound like their own words, or does it seem unusually sophisticated and rehearsed, like they're reading from a script? Finally, does their behavior fluctuate, or is it extreme and fixed? A rebellious teen has good days and bad days. An alienated child's rejection is often unwavering. So, how should you respond? Whether it's rebellion or you suspect alienation, the first rule is to stay calm. Escalating the conflict, making accusations, or getting into shouting matches will only make things worse. Try to keep the lines of communication open, but without pressure. Let your child know you love them and you're there for them, even if they're pushing you away. Focus on listening more than talking. Instead of defending yourself, try saying things like, "I'm sorry you feel that way. I'd really like to understand what's going on." It's also incredibly helpful to start documenting everything. Keep a private journal of specific behaviors, conversations, and events. Note the dates, what was said, and the context. This isn't about building a legal case right away, but about identifying patterns. Seeing it all written down can help you distinguish between random teenage moods and a consistent campaign of alienation. This objective record will be invaluable if you decide you need to seek professional help. Remember, your emotional reaction is valid, but responding based on observable evidence is much more effective. And that brings us to the most important step: seeking neutral, professional support. This could be a family therapist, a counselor who specializes in parent-child relationships, or a mediator. A neutral third party can provide a safe space for communication and help untangle the complex emotions involved. They can help you and your child learn healthier ways to communicate and resolve conflict. For a rebellious teen, therapy can give them tools to manage their emotions and stress. If alienation is at play, a professional can help identify the manipulative dynamics and work towards a solution that prioritizes the child's well-being. When should you seek that professional help? Don't wait until the situation is at a crisis point. If the rejection becomes rigid and absolute, or if it escalates very quickly, it's time to call in an expert. If all your attempts at calm communication consistently fail, or if your child is showing signs of severe emotional distress, like anxiety, depression, or intense confusion around their loyalties, it's a clear signal that outside intervention is needed. Early intervention is key. A professional can assess the behavioral patterns, evaluate your child's emotional health, and help determine what is truly in their best interest. Ultimately, trust your instincts, but back them up with evidence. You know your child better than anyone. If something feels deeply wrong, it probably is. Navigating this is one of the hardest challenges a parent can face, but you don't have to do it alone. By staying calm, documenting what you see, and seeking timely professional support, you can protect your relationship with your child and pave the way for long-term healing. Remember, your child needs you, even if they can't show it right now. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And consider subscribing for more content on navigating the challenges of parenting. If you're going through this, know that there is hope and help available. Take care.